before that Thomas Cup, nobody even thought about even writing an article about us. Our sport kind of peaked really early. Um, and then the fans' expectations also have gone beyond a certain level, I would say. No matter what happens in the entire year of super serious events, when it comes to bigger events, she's able to kind of deliver, and I'm hoping that she kind of gets into that mood once again. As I said, the last 15 years of my career, I think the disappointments were more than 70%, and I think the good times were probably just 30%.
So you brought up age as a factor. I think you recently also said that it's becoming a factor in how you play. So what are the aspects of the game you're now focusing on to sort of cover up for the speed of these youngsters, these 2021-year-olds?
Yeah, I think that's the toughest part out there, because badminton being a very physical sport, to be honest, and now probably a year back, 1.5 year back, probably the average age was somewhere around 26, 27 in the top 20s. But now suddenly in the last 1 year, you can see a lot of shift happening, where a lot of number of young players have kind of come into the top 30s, and they're kind of making everybody work a little bit more than usual, especially the top players. So I think you can slowly see that shift happening, where the age has kind of I think the average age has kind of come down to probably 22, 23 in the last 6 to 8 months, I would say. So I think for me, I've never been a fast player, and I think I've always banged on my experience and my brilliance on court, and probably the ability to read the player much earlier than a lot of players. So I think I'm still kind of relying on all those good things of mine, where speed is definitely kind of a tough place where I can match them. But I think a lot of things kind of, especially getting into bigger tournaments, I think I have got the experience of playing a lot of bigger matches and bigger stadiums, especially. So I think all those experience is what I am kind of still trying to trust in, and especially last 3-4 years, I would say a lot of good victories came in just because I was able to get into the situation much faster, understand the situations much faster, and act accordingly. So hopefully the next couple of years as well, I think that's going to be the key for me.
Yeah. So how do you assess the Indian badminton squad for Paris as a whole?
I think we have a very good squad out there, and I think from a Chirag Satwik point, I think they're looking at as one of those big contenders who can kind of go really deep into the tournament. And getting into the men's singles, we have me and Lakshya. And Lakshya is somebody who has been working really hard in the last couple of years and had the experience of playing a lot of big events. And he's also somebody who can play really well at bigger events. He has got that mindset to kind of get into big matches and deliver at bigger occasions. So, and from I think women's singles, I think we have Sindhu, who has already had the experience of playing at 2 Olympics and having 2 medals in a kitty. I think she's somebody who's always been a big tournament player, and no matter what happens in the entire year of super serious events, when it comes to bigger events, she's able to kind of deliver, and I'm hoping that she kind of gets into that mood once again, getting into Paris. And think getting into women doubles as well, I think Ashwini and Tanisha also has been playing really well. I think in the last 6 months, you've seen the graph just going up. And so from a whole team perspective, I think we have got a very good squad out there. And Olympics is such an event where I think it's all about how well you are mentally out there and physically you are able to push through that 5 to 6 days of big events. And if you have a little bit of luck, then I think anything can change from an Olympic perspective, because I think everybody is going to be nervous. I think every single player is going to be nervous, no matter what their ranking is, from where they are. But it just, if you are able to be mentally out there, able to kind of be in the situation, understand what's happening at the moment, I think those kind of players are going to kind of go forward in these bigger events.
Yeah, you talked about big tournaments. So we recently had the Thomas Cup, which India unfortunately could not defend. But does that make the 2022 win seem even more unreal? You were one of the architects of that win.
Yeah, I think Thomas Cup is always tough, and I think every country comes in to kind of I think every country show that it is one of those big events which they want to win. Every country, I think China, Indonesia, Japan, I think all these bigger countries, they come in with an attitude where they don't care what's going to happen, but they just want to win it. And I think this time also we had a very good squad, and we had a little bit of small injury concerns here and there, but I think from an overall team perspective, I think we fought really hard. I think even though we had a couple of injury scares here and there, but still from a team perspective, I think we all fought kind of really hard, and we never let it go easily, especially against Indonesia and against China. And to kind of play against China in China is always tough. But from a 2022 perspective, if we look back, I think that Thomas Cup has been one of my favorite moments in my career, where to be honest, I think before the Thomas Cup, nobody even thought about even writing an article about us in the newspapers about the Indian squad for Thomas Cup. I'm sure we didn't even have one article, but then post that week, we could change that attitude among I think a lot of fans and a lot of players out there to kind of tell that this is also possible. And I think that 1 week was very important for the Indian badminton as such, to kind of show that men's, I mean not just men's, but I think from a team event perspective, we are not far away. And from that 2022 Thomas Cup, I think we had a lot of good victories in the team events. We had consistent team event results. We had a lot of medals coming into Asian Games. I think Asian Badminton Championship from the girls this year. I think all those things, all those events kind of gave a lot of confidence to the entire team and to the fans as well, saying that we are a contender getting into the team events as well.
Yeah. So speaking of fans, now badminton is sort of becoming a sport, or has already become a sport, other than cricket, where the fans are now expecting a lot. So do you take that as added pressure, or do you welcome it because that means a lot more people are invested in your sport now?
I think it's both. I would say it's both. Sometimes it's added pressure, to be honest, when you're not playing well, and I think there is a lot of criticism coming on your way. And I think there are a lot of people who tells you to retire. I think it's a part and parcel of the sport, but I think it's important to keep it aside at times when there is a lot of criticism on you. I think you have to realize that when you're a sports person, there are going to be more of tough times for you than kind of getting those good victories. I think good victories may be hardly coming in like 4 or 5 events in a year. That too at this level. I mean, you are talking about the top 30 of the world. We are playing day in day out against the world number 1s, world number 2s, and you have to expect that there are going to be disappointments as such. And to be honest, I would say our sport kind of peaked really early. And then the fans' expectations also have gone beyond a certain level, I would say, because I think Saina and Sindhu kind of gave that start to the entire country, where suddenly there was a hope saying that okay, there is a hope from a sport where we didn't or say we were not really great, and I think it was all Chinese or Indonesians who were dominating the sport, and all of a sudden we had two players who were able to go out there and win super series, which is never easy, and it is never easy, and we have a lot of sport out there where uh, it is tough to kind of get into the top 30s, right? But from a badminton level, I think we have kind of raised that bar in the last one decade. Um, I think Gopi sir was very critical in that because he had produced probably, I don't know, 10 to 15 players in the last 6 to 7 years in the top tier of world badminton, and everybody was able to go out there and match big names, big countries, and suddenly there is a lot of expectations out from the sport. I think that is expected, and I think sometimes there is disappointment which comes in the way when there is no results. And for me, I feel sometimes it kind of feels a little heavy when there is a lot of criticism kind of comes your way, and so I kind of try to shut it down. I kind of try to stay away from social media, especially to make kind of understand that that our journey is very important. You have to focus on that journey, and you have to be very consistent. You have to be very consistent on what you are trying to do on a daily basis, and all this outside talks cannot be a reason for you to not train properly, right? So I keep doing that. I keep going out of social medias for in between, so that I get that peace of mind and kind of have the time to kind of focus back on what I need to do. And but I think the expectations are always good. It kind of gives us that fire to always perform, because we know that there is a lot of people who expects from our victories, and they gain happiness from whenever we kind of win tournaments, whenever we have good tournaments. So it's good to see that the sport has grown multifolds in the last one decade, and there is a lot of kids out there who is trying to pursue the sport.
Yeah. So you had an excellent 2023, and you at this stage of your career, you've seen a lot. You've seen mostly everything. Is there ever this self-doubt that at this age, can I do it again? Can I have a year that betters 2023, especially just a year after that? Does that self-doubt ever come in?
Yeah, I think it comes in every single day, I would say. Not just to kind of uh, perform like last year. I think it's always from a fact saying that do you belong to this level? I mean, you keep getting that doubt whenever things are not going well. You keep asking yourself if are you on the right track? Are you, or do you need to change anything else in your schedule? Are you doing the right training? I think these are very common questions from a sports person's mind, and I think it's a constant fight with your mind to kind of convince your mind, saying that you're doing well, you're doing right. But as I said, I mean, the disappointments are inevitable when you are playing almost 18 to 20 tournaments in a year, and it is mentally very tough to kind of finish a tournament, come back again, train, then again go for a tournament in a week's time, where you don't have time to kind of really think about what happened. It's very important that you move on very quickly, shut it down, and then just move on quickly and try to kind of get better. So I think it's a never-ending process. I think last 15 years I've had felt to kind of stop the game, or kind of uh, take the decision of retiring from the game multiple times, where things have not gone well, and but somewhere deep inside you, it keeps telling that it's not the time, and you still have something left in your tank to kind of go out there and again perform at the highest level. So I'm sure that it's not just for me, but for a lot of players, especially post 28, 29. this feeling keeps coming, and it keeps coming probably every single day.
Also, so mental health has become this big talking point across sports over the past few years. So, how much importance do you give that?
I think it's very, very important, especially in our generation where social media is a big, I think, big influencer out there. Where I think where every decision is influenced by a social media a post or what you see on social media, and I think we are running behind to show people what we want or what we have. Or I think that's the way I think things have changed over the years. So there is going to be a lot of stress from that side of it when you look at your peers doing better, doing better than you. I think that's where a lot of pressure comes in, and you feel that you are not doing enough justice to what you have. So all these things are kind of a change which has happened over the years, and it is very, very important for you to acknowledge anything if you have any issues. If you feel that you need help from a third person, I think it's very, very important that you go out and seek that help. You speak to somebody whom you trust, find solutions for it, because just like physical game, I think it's very important to have that improvement in your mental aspect as well, where you are able to deal with situations in a much better way. You are able to think better in certain situations. Say from a sporting side of it, as I said, the last 15 years of my career, I think the disappointments were more than 70%, and I think the good times were probably just 30%. But how do you get through that 70% is the biggest question. And a lot of my friends who used to play left the sport much earlier because of the disappointments, definitely, and didn't have the mindset to kind of work it out from a different side of it and then prolong their career. So I've seen a lot of examples like that. So it's really important that you speak to a lot of people regarding this. There is no shame accepting if you have some issue, and I'm sure everybody goes through something. Every single person in the world has some kind of things which kind of bothers them, and it is totally okay to kind of seek help from different people, understand what is happening, and it's a constant process to upgrade yourself, improve yourself. Nobody is kind of perfect out there. It's just constant effort to kind of try to improve. And I think sport is just a part of my life. And once the sport is done, I still have probably a good 30 or 40 years to live. So how do I live it in a much better way? I think that's what sport has always been. A great thing for me, because I could understand who I am, what I am, and what all things I need to do so that I can be a better human being. I think that's what makes the biggest difference. Yeah.
So looking forward to the Olympics, do you have any players on your radar specifically, or you're just focusing on your own thing?
No, there is no players on the radar as such. I think the only focus is myself, and I think from a men's singles perspective, I think it's a very open category, and I think everybody is a title contender these days in Super Series even. So you can't really kind of focus on one opponent or two opponents and go out there. I think you just have to be ready for everybody out there. And so my preparation is just straightforward, just to get physically as fitter as possible, and mentally be in a good condition where I'm able to think and I'm able to kind of understand and know what's happening at that moment, which is going to be very, very crucial.
Best of luck with that. And also, lastly, what would standing on that podium at Paris mean for you, regardless of the color of the medal?
I think for every individual, I think it's something which you have always dreamt when you started playing any sport professionally. to be on the podium in an Olympics. But to be honest, I've never thought about it. Still trying not to think about it, because I think it's a very far off thing for me right now. I think you always wish that it should happen, and if it had happened, then it would be something, I don't know, just out of the world feeling. I've never done that, obviously. I think somebody who has done that in the past would know the exact feeling. But for me, I'm trying to not even think about it, because if it happens, I think we should just take it live, and you should not really think about the feeling going before and kind of make it a little bit more complicated than usual. So I think it's much better would be to kind of, if it happens, it kind of happens, and then you take it live and just kind of experience it live would be much better than imagining, is what I feel.